Balkan flats. The very last place someone would want to live in. Quite often I see people that never grasped a minute of living in these conditions romanticize about how nice and pretty they look. They are a staple of socialist/communist regimes back in the day, and to be fair, they are not present only in the Balkans, but the entirety of Eastern Europe, where these political regimes were mostly established. Most of the time I just laugh at these social justice warriors, where they live in a quite stable environment, basically have everything, and they still complain how modern day lifestyle is ruining society. The fact that they want socialism/communism established in their well-developed countries
My son is a communist!
just shows their ignorance and a lack of intelligence.
To be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the
Because of course there is nothing better than waking up, looking outside of your damn window and seeing depressing grey and white buildings that are slowly starting to fall apart because no one takes care of them. Hell yeah! Like me personally, I just love it when during the fall and winter I can only see three colors of white, grey and dark grey everywhere I look. It just can't get more romantic than that. Of course I'm being sarcastic over here, like every time I wake up and look outside the damn window, I just want to end it all, man. But then I remember that I'm from the Balkans, so I just want to beat the living shit out of someone else instead.
I hate the fucking place! I fucking hate it! It's full of dickheads! I fucking hate it!
Now a quick history lesson. As some of you know, these buildings were built during the socialist/communist times back in the 20th century. In ex-Yugoslavian countries, socialism was pretty much the norm, which, if I try to simplify, a more milder approach than communism. Majority of companies were owned by the state, with a small amount of privately owned businesses. I'm talking about socialist countries where there was at least some tolerance of capitalism and private ownership. Basically, for majority of stuff, you depended on the state to provide it to you, and you can only guess how well that went after some time.
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro? You tripping!
Now, I was born long after these regimes fall apart, so for that, I thank the God. But of course I am curious, so I asked my parents and my grandparents about it. They had mixed opinions. For example, my mother said that life was more simple and they got just enough to live comfortably. So by her definition, it doesn't sound bad at all. But then I asked my father and I regret that decision since the day I asked him. He kept telling me that it was horrible and that people suffered, economy was unpredictable, and your voice was censored as hell. From what I have read and learned from my parents, basically the government took the majority of the state profits and people got a small part of what was left. Doesn't sound so romantic after all, doesn't it, huh? To own a private business, you needed to work your ass off. And I don't mean that by today's standards, where if you want a successful business, you need to work hard. I meant that you had to compete with the state, and competing against these kind of governments, you can only imagine how it ended. Basically, today you can be a fucking retard on the internet and be a millionaire. So, there is your comparison. The government needed cheap labor, and to provide these people with a place to live, they started building these buildings. Me personally, I call them beehives because majority of them look the same, with basically copy and paste apartments. For example, the building where I currently live was not built by construction companies. Now you may ask me, well, who the hell built it then? Basically the people working in a coal mine close by, because they needed to live close to their workplace. And after they finished working in a coal mine for 8 to 12 hours, they came home and continued building the flats. These are the true badasses in my opinion, because I will never understand how do you manage that amount of labor and, Not die from exhaustion? I bet majority of these buildings were built in the same or similar principle. Basically, people that lived in them also built them. Slovenia actually got off pretty easily, probably because it was located so close to Central and Western Europe, so I just can't imagine the life in the countries further south or east. So for all social justice warriors accidentally coming across this video, stop whining like a little bitch and go get a fucking job. I joke about these flats with my friends, that it's the same as being fucked in the asshole with Vaseline, so it doesn't hurt. But at least we don't have those tent cities like they do in America.
I'm from Bosnia, take me to America. I really want to see Statue of Liberty.
I can't even count the amount of times I had to listen to my neighbor snoring his ass off in the middle of the night during summer. It gets so hot even during the night here, so you need your windows open to not get a heat stroke. But if you do, you will slowly start learning about the sleep patterns of your neighbors. I won't even mention washing machines, man. Like, I live on the 3rd floor and every time my neighbors are washing their clothes above me, basically the whole building is vibrating. Hell yeah. Plus the building where I live was built so wonky that the walls aren't even straight. Because, well, they were built by non-construction workers. What did you expect to happen? And yeah, this is it for today, man. I love the Balkans, man. New video is coming soon, so stay tuned. But until then, stay safe, stay educated, and until next time, boys.